Alright, my name's Timber Monson, and today I'm going to be presenting my gaming server project. Now, what started this project is the company I work for has a few data center servers, and in the midst of an upgrade, they had to throw out some of the old hardware they had. Now, I managed to snag one of the old servers with permission, and why I wanted one of these servers so bad is companies that have enterprise servers upgrade all the time. Things are constantly improving, there's constantly new CPUs, hardware, etc. But the stuff they throw out is honestly still very good, most of the time. So that's why I grabbed this. But I don't have an application that requires server-type things. I'm not going to be hosting a website on this. I'm not going to be doing file server stuff. I wanted to use this for my daily driver computer, and I wanted it to basically play games. I wanted it to do everything that a desktop computer could do. So that's what this project was to turn a server box into a usable gaming computer. So the first modification I made to this was to add a graphics card, because onboard graphics is not very great. I wanted something powerful. So I had this graphics card right here. It's a GTX 1070 from NVIDIA. It's got pretty good specs. It can run pretty much all AAA games nowadays. Now, I wanted to get this beefy graphics card to connect to this server right here. Problem is, this server is only about 1.5 inches high, and it definitely doesn't have the dimensions required to fit this. So to do that, I cut a hole in this top plate to fit some cables through. I bought an extension cable for this little data port. It's PCI Express Gen 2, I think. And then I put on some brackets to mount the graphics card on top. I have a data connected. Should be good, except power. So, these servers, it's worth mentioning, have 2 power supplies. They're redundant. They can work off one. They like to have 2 so they can fail over if one fails. I only need 1 power supply. There's an extra port. I cut the port off of a part supply and then used that as a way to sap power through the secondary port. Little way of reverse powering it. Did that, soldered a cable, and now I have a graphics card. So that was modification 1. It can now display things. My next project was manually control the fans. The way I did that is I took off the case, and I realized that each fan has a single wire for controlling the fan speed. What I did is I soldered a wire to each fan that allows me to control it via an Arduino over just a single control signal, split it out to all 8 fans. And so basically I now have an Arduino that can create a signal that can control the fans. How do I use that to my benefit? Well, Arduinos have a port over which they can talk to, like, your computer to USB. So, power the Arduino over USB, control the fans, and then control the fan speed via a Python script on my Windows application. So, as a result of all that, I now have a way to control fan speed via a Python program. And right now, it's actually automatically setting the fan speeds based off of the CPU temperature. Now, there was one more problem I had to solve. In these motherboards, there's something called a RAID controller. It basically handles having 10 drives plugged in. The RAID controller in this server was just a small chip. It's got an aluminum heatsink, but it ran way too hot. Mine idled when I was just running Windows at around 85 degrees. That's not catastrophic for any silicon chip, but it's not optimal either. You can start to see things like ion migration. It'll reduce the life of the chip. So I wanted to bring that temperature down. The way I did that is I bought a small 40mm fan from Noctua. So I got a small fan, plugged it in, and just that managed to lower the chip temperature down to 85. From 85 down to 60. So that's a total of around 25 degrees Celsius temperature decrease, which in terms of thermals and PCs is pretty astronomical. Some other modifications were minor, like I got a USB KVM switch, just so I can have like my work laptop with the same mouse and keyboard, press a button, I switch what I'm controlling. But yeah, that was about my project. Another modification I made was I actually unplugged almost all the drives. And I realized that when I have all of my drives plugged in, even if I'm not using them, it drew like, I think it was like 60 watts more. So I unplugged all the drives except for 3. And now, as a result of all my modifications, I have a server with dual CPUs, 20 cores, 40 threads, so really good processing. I've got fans that run silent and a chip that doesn't overheat. So that's my whole server project. I'm going to be posting this on my website, and thank you for watching.